how's it going? So I know I haven't recorded in a while, and my last video was a while back, and I know in my last video I said that I was going to vlog every day and stuff like that, and you guys have probably been wondering like where I've been, but as you can see, I've been really sorry. I got my cat here, got a little Leo. Just stroking him. Yeah, I've been really poorly recently, and not anything that's been wrong, but just because of my seizures and that, they've been like really out of control. And yeah, so I've been like this for about a week now. No, a week or two now, and so it's literally as soon as I said I was going to record more videos, it's when I started going downhill. And I was going to do a video that said like, well, I'm not going to vlog on that, but I thought I just, I just haven't had, my mood's been low and just stuff like that. I just haven't had the courage to do it or whatever. So but yeah, but I'm feeling a little bit better now, which is good. I've got a lot going on at the moment, obviously, because I know that sounds stupid because we're in quarantine, but just with my mood wise and stuff, it's just not it's not going good. So I thought today I'd talk to you. It's going to be quite a long video, but I thought I'd talk to you about my functional neurological disorder and my non-epileptic attack, because I know I said right at the beginning of the video that the vlog's going to be about fitness and my FND and stuff. So I thought I've done all the fitness, but I haven't done the FND in a while, so I thought I'd do that. So here goes. But so so a couple of years ago, I've been like, I all of a sudden got like depression and stuff, and because I also have epilepsy, there's some medications I can't go on with like antidepressants and that because of my epilepsy, because it could cause me to have like epileptic seizures. So that's been really hard, and it's just like everyone's noticed it, but we don't really know why, but I've just been generally feeling just like suicide, just really horrible thoughts. And so then it was last year that I met Ryan, and that went really well, but then I just knew still something wasn't right. Like, I was getting angry at my family. It's just, something just wasn't right, and my mum knew it and everything. And so me and Ryan had been together for about 2 months before it all kicked off, but we was at Center Parcs, our first like little getaway holiday together. And when we went for the weekend, we went from Friday to Monday, and on the weekend, on the Saturday, I think it was the Saturday night, like I really wasn't feeling well, and I thought, and like it was really weird, like we was meant to go bowling, but like my hand just started getting like really weak and hurting, and so we had to leave bowling, and we went back to the hotel, and we kind of just like chilled for a bit, and just like watch movies and that, because I felt so tired. I thought I'd just go to sleep, and so I started closing my eyes, and then all of a sudden, without me knowing, I just started, like, my arm just started doing that, and my hand and that, and Ryan looked at me, and he was like, so he woke me up, and he was like, "Are you alright?" And I was like, yeah, and then I kind of didn't think much of it, and then we went, and it just kept happening, so I went back to sleep, and it'd happen again and again and again, and so we phoned my mum, and she said, like, call an ambulance, because that could be me having an epileptic seizure, because I've never had anything like this before, and that's what was really scary. And so we called an ambulance, but they said, because I'm like talking and I'm conscious and that, they said, I think you should just make your way to the hospital. I don't think we need an ambulance. And so we was like, okay. So then we phoned my mum back, and that happened. And then we phoned reception, and they got first aid up, and they were just like observing me over, and then in the end they just said, yeah, you need to go to the hospital. So we went, bearing in mind my hospital is Hillingdon, we was in Bedfordshire, so we had to get a taxi to Bedfordshire, which was 30 quid, which wasn't good, bearing in mind that we didn't have that much money left because we were there like for the whole weekend. So then this was like early hours Sunday. We got to the hospital and we got seen quite quick, which was good. And I went in there, I went into the waiting room, and I then got called in, and she spoke to me and she said, like, this isn't right, we'll go and put you like on a bed. And so they put me on a bed, and then I'm trying to remember it because it was such a while ago. It's nearly been a year, but so I went to a bed, they took bloods and that, and they just said everything's fine, and then but we need to keep you in because we need to monitor these seizures. And so this was about 3 a.m. I just couldn't sleep. Every time I shut my eyes, I'd just seizure, basically. And in the end they gave me epilepsy medication. So no. So that was Sunday morning, and then it just got worse and worse and worse. And then my mum was actually away. Luckily she wasn't abroad, she was just gone to a spa weekend, and so she had to come back and come to the hospital because Ryan was just like, it was all just getting too much. So we went, so my mum then came, and then they gave me some, I can't remember what drug it was, but they gave me to help control my seizures, and it did stop them. But then I started hallucinating. Like I kept saying like, "Mum, I'm under the water." It was bad. And then in the end, the next thing I remember was I was hallucinating, and then we got home on the Monday afternoon because they kept me in hospital again the night, and then they charged me on Monday because we had neurology. Because luckily we had an appointment like due soon, and and so we went. So my mum drove us all home, but I don't remember any of that. All I can remember is from being at the hospital, and then the next day being at home in my bed, like with Ryan. Like I don't remember anything until I woke up. And so we was at home, and then we stayed home Monday, and like I slept over, and Ryan slept with me and stuff, and then looking after me. And then on Tuesday, I think Ryan went home to have some time at home, and then basically I had about, I think it was 17 seizures at home. Then my mum called the ambulance. She was like, this is not right, I can't like watch my daughter go through this. So we called the ambulance, and the ambulance came in the end because I started like not being conscious. That I was, every time I'd seizure, I was like, it would go all over the place. And so my mum called the ambulance came, they were lovely, and they said, right, we're just going to take you to hospital. They monitored me over and everything seemed fine. But when I got into the ambulance, they took bloods and they put a cannula in and stuff to give me any medication and fluids and that. And then basically they just, I can remember it so clearly. Like, I know I said I couldn't remember it, but the graphic parts I could really remember because it's just a horrible experience. And I remember being in the ambulance, and then my oxygen levels would drop, so they had to give me an oxygen mask and stuff like that. And I think it was worse because when I had a seizure, I'd hold my breath, so that's why my oxygen levels would go down. So that happened, and then I got transferred to Norfolk Park, and we went there, and then they were like, we can't do anything because you've got neurology the next day. So it's not like you have neurology in like 2 months' time, then we would be able to see someone. But the fact that you've got an appointment tomorrow, I think it's best if you just got home and go to the appointment tomorrow. And they just couldn't do anything. And so my mum and that were very frustrated, and obviously we came home, went to bed, and the next day we went up to neurology in London. Luckily that got brought forward because it was going to be in September, I think, or summer, something like that. But luckily it was in end of May. And so we went there, and they said, right, my neurologist like observed me and said, right, I don't think this is epileptic seizures. I think this is something called functional neurological disorder and non-epileptic attack disorder, and so NEAD. And then and then she saw us, and then she said, right, I'm going to refer you to a clinic. This is going to be hard because it's a epilepsy centre where you stay in overnight, and you stay there for about 2 weeks. Well, luckily it can be longer, but I stayed there for 2 weeks, and they said, we're going to refer you there, and the waiting list is a while, but because this is quite serious, we're going to put you at the top, which was really good. But obviously at that time we went down to the canteen to have lunch, and I was just like, I had so many mixed emotions, because knowing that for 2 weeks I was going to be away from my family, and it was scary because I didn't really know anything about it, and I was just like, I had mixed emotions, and my mum was then started crying. It just got really, 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 really sad. But in the end, obviously we went home, I kept having them. And then I think about 2 weeks later, I got a call from the Chalfont, the epilepsy centre, and they said, right, we have a bed for you, and you can come in. So that was on the Saturday they called me, and then on the Wednesday I actually went in there, which was good. So on the Saturday, because I was actually down at my auntie and uncle's in Bournemouth, and I got that call, and it was really, really good. I felt relieved that I've actually got a bed and they're actually getting prepared for me. So we started packing up all my stuff, getting a bag and that. Luckily, the epilepsy centre is 20 minutes down the road. It's in Chalfont St Peter's, so that was really lucky that it's so near. And so we went down and we packed up all my stuff and everything, and we went out and brought new clothes and stuff like that ready to wear around the because it's hard to explain, but it's like a hospital, but it's also like you're living at home in a way. So like as you come into reception, you on the right, sorry, I'm not good with my left and right, but on the right you'd go down the corridor, and then there'd be like wards and beds and everything, and then as you come back up the corridor, obviously you go down the corridor, and then if you walk back up on the left, you've got the dining hall in the middle where you go and have food in the canteen and stuff, and then next to that you have the like games room, the TV room, and you can do puzzles and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a care home, but for like younger for people who have the epilepsy. So it's like a hospital / care home kind of thing. And so we started getting prepared, and then on the Wednesday I went there, and they checked me in, and they said, right, we're not too sure how long you'll be there because we've got to do lots of tests. So I started so this was about 1 p.m, and then I got into a bed, and then I got moved in, and no one was in there at the moment, so I had like 4 spare beds to myself. So I was kind of like, my mum's kind of stayed there, and then she stayed there till about 6 p.m, and then she came into the canteen with me, and we had dinner, and there's lots of people there who had like wires on their head, so it's quite scary, but my nerves are kicking in and stuff, and then that was it really. Then my mum left, and we came, and then I slept, and the next day the doctor came around, and he spoke to me about everything that's going on, and luckily my mum recorded videos of me seizuring, which I didn't want to watch them because they're just so horrible, like seeing them and watching them back, so I didn't watch them, but my mum emailed them over, and we showed them to him, and he said, right, well, we'll get you seen tomorrow by the I think it's psychiatrist, and she was talking to me about all the medication. I always get confused between the psychology and psychiatrist. If I muddle it up, then just let me know in the comments. But I think a psychiatrist is where they talk to me about all the medication I'm on and all the symptoms. And the doctor was in the room with me, the doctor at the Chalfont Centre, and the psychiatrist was in the room with me, and they said, right, because your mood's so low, we think we're going to put you on this medication called sertraline, which is an antidepressant. And so they put that on my notes, and then for some reason in the next 2 weeks they didn't put me on it, which was really weird. But obviously they were bringing my medication to me and stuff like that, so it wasn't like I could just access my medication by myself. They had to come and they locked it away and stuff like that. And what was also really horrible is that was on the Wednesday, and then on the Friday, obviously they I had a day where I went home. They said, because you live so near, you can literally like go home for the weekend. So I thought, yes, that was good. So I get to be in my own bed at home. And then on the Sunday night, so I went on the Friday, and then on the Sunday night I come back. And when I came back on the Sunday night, there were people, there were 2 other ladies there, and they were like, and then we all said hi, and they were older. One was called Mel, and one was called, oh my gosh, I can't remember her name. What was her name? I think it was Anne. Was it Anne? Oh my, that's so bad, I can't remember her name. But no, one of them was called Mel, and I can't remember the other name, but the other lady was older, and Mel was in her like 50s, something like that. And they were having seizures. That was horrible to watch as well, because they'd be sitting opposite me and to the side, and like I had to see if they were, and you'd had to press obviously the button if they were seizure. You'd have to go for them and press the button if they're seizing, because I can't press the button, and call the ladies. But yeah, so that was nice, and we started like bonding and talking, and it was nice to actually have like older people there who like kind of like understand, and it was nice to have some, they kind of felt like my nanny, you know what I mean? It's really weird, but that's just what they kind of felt like. And yeah, and then that was it. So I've been there, and then I came back on Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, nothing really happened. I kind of did the same thing where I had routine, like we had to get up at a certain time to have breakfast, so it wasn't like I could just lie in. So we had to get up at 8, get dressed, go and have breakfast, and then you could do whatever you want during the day. You could go outside, because it was summer. So this was sorry, I've got to tell you, this was in like June, end of June, beginning of July when I got in. So it was like really, really hot and sunny and stuff like that. And that was really, really good. Yeah, so basically so when I got, my neurologist was in end of May, and then 2 weeks later we went up to Bournemouth, and then that's when I got the call, and so it was in the middle of June kind of. But yeah, so we started like I started getting used to the surroundings and that, and I started making friends. And what was really hard is like sometimes you'd be at the dining room, and then people would seizure, and it's just like you're watching it, and it's just so horrible to watch it, but you know that they can't help it, and which is really, really hard. But so it was a struggle, but obviously me going through that, I know I'm like stronger than ever, you know, like I'm really, really strong, and I know I don't see that I'm strong, but I am. And then I saw so then they did a week later, so it was, nothing happened for a week, and then a week later they did like tests, you know, like mind tests and stuff, you know, where you have to like read loads of objects and then repeat them back for your memory, just stuff like that, little bits of tests. And they said everything's, so then that was done, and then I then saw psychology, I think, talking about like what was psychology? I can't, bits I can remember, but bits I can't. The important bits I can remember, but some bits I can't. And then right to the, so I was there for 2 weeks. And then in the last week, on the last day, luckily it was on a Friday, so I get to go home. On the Friday, they said, right, Sophie, we'll speak to the doctor and stuff like that. So all of the doctors were in the room, like the psychiatrist, the psychologist, everyone was in there. And they said, right, because, yeah, that was it. So on the Wednesday, I had an EEG. So I had an MRI beginning. That's when I first got there. And then I had psychiatry. And then I had the mind test and everything, and then they did the EEG where they stick all the stickers on your head because they thought they'd see if it's epilepsy, see if there's any like activity in the brain. And so I had that for 48 hours and they said there's nothing. So that's when right at the end they called me in and they said, right, Sophie, we couldn't see any signs of epilepsy seizures, but we think you have this condition called functional neurological disorder, and I was like, right. And obviously I heard my neurologist talk about it, but I didn't think it was that. I just thought because I have epilepsy it would be my epilepsy. So they explained to me and they gave me and my mum some useful websites and stuff to look at. So you can go onto a website called neurosymptoms.org, and that's like a UK website which covers everything about functional neurological disorder. But yeah, and so that happened, and they were like, right, you can go home, and they said the only way you can do you can help with the seizures is there's no actually medication because it's non-epileptic seizures. We can't give you any medication because it could harm you. So they said the only way to do that is doing cognitive behavioural therapy, like doing counselling, just all of this to try and train your brain to not focus on the seizures and stuff. And so so we got discharged, and then that was lucky. I get to see Ryan again, and everything was starting to go back to normal. Like, I would be seizuring, but we know that it's not harming me. I'm perfectly fine. As long as I'm in a safe place, then I'm fine. And so for the next few months, for the next 9 months, it was literally like, the annoying thing is we had no counselling, we had nothing, because the waiting list was ages. And because we went to Pembroke and we spoke to them about what happened in hospital, and they're like, right, we'll put you on the list for psychology. And we was like, okay, that's good. And that was in August, and then we've literally, because I was having counselling at Link, because luckily I got into counselling, they decided at the Pembroke that they were going to not put me on the list because I've already got counselling. But I was like, I only had counselling because I needed that help because I was really struggling. And so then we didn't hear anything. We was expecting to get a phone call, and they didn't even let us know that we weren't on the list, and it was just silly. And so obviously we had Christmas, and at Christmas I go through phases where my seizures get so bad that I just can't control them. And obviously on Christmas Day I went to Ryan's, and that was when I was up all night just seizuring. And so I have times where I do not seizure at all, to having a few seizures here and then, to having complete seizures. It's kind of like in stages. So I'm literally like a roller coaster. I'm like, one minute my mood and my seizures and my functional neurological disorder are absolutely fine, and then I dip straight away. It's not even like a level, it's literally dip, and sorry, Leo's looking at me thinking, what am I doing? And then it's up. It's literally, it's just so bad. But yeah, so that happened. So that happens, and then every day is a struggle, but it's just finding a way to get through it, you know, finding a way to cope and that. But So as I was saying, the functional neurological disorder, you can go on the website Neurosymptoms, but basically what it is, it's like signals in the brain not controlling the body properly, so the signals are not getting to the body. So you know, for like when literally like now the signals in my brain are telling me to do this, sometimes the signals go wrong and they tell my body to do silly things, which is the seizures. And I also have weakness, and part of the FMD, a common sign is tiredness. Like the seizures make you tired, you're just tired all the time, and you get nausea, like you're really sick all the time, and you get really bad headaches, and it's just so many things come on. But it's worse when I'm hormonal as well, and stuff. It's just all over the place. But it is a struggle every day, and it's nearly been a year since I got diagnosed, just under. So it's been really hard to get our head around it. It's been such a struggle because I've had to stop going out and doing things, and so like obviously when people invite me out, sometimes I'm, you know, I can go and I'm fine, and then sometimes my seizures all of a sudden just go like that and I just can't go out. So that's really hard. And what's really hard is I've lost friends because of that. I've lost people, friends, and so it's been really challenging. But it's been kind of like, because it's good in a way, because I actually know that I'm not faking it. Because I was really lucky, I got diagnosed within a couple of months, but people probably get diagnosed within 5 to 10 years, because they keep going into hospital with everything being wrong, and all the scans come up normal, the MRIs, EEGs, everything just comes up normal. So that's what's really hard for people to get to the doctors to get. They don't understand. Like, they just say, don't be silly, there's nothing wrong with you, you need to go home. So it's really hard. You get some doctors that are really nice and just say, right, go home and just try and do home remedies like lavender, oils and stuff like that. And then you get some that are just like, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just, basically the moral of the story, they're just saying you're being silly, you're faking it. So that's what's really hard, because nothing shows up. But then obviously this is what you need to go to the epilepsy centre to get diagnosed, which is good. And basically I added the ladies who I was sharing with on Facebook, and I asked them, because I left before them, they were there another week, and I asked them how they're getting on, and they said, yeah, it's FND. So it is becoming very common. I know it's like not, I know it's not meant to be, I know it's not that common, but it's starting to get common. And people, when I tell people, they're like, what's that? And I'm like, then I have to explain. But if you research into it, it is getting more and more common, but people just don't know. Like, sometimes you can get really bad headaches, sometimes you can feel really sick all the time, sometimes you get weakness, but you don't know what it is. So, but it's the FND, so you don't know, but once you get diagnosed, you do. But yeah, so it has been a very big struggle, but Ryan and my family have supported me so much, which is really good, and I'm really happy that I don't have to worry about it. It's not harming me, as long as if I have a seizure when I'm out, I'm in a safe place and I'm with someone, that's really good. But so yeah, I know this was a really long video, 30 minutes, like half an hour long, but it's good to get an insight, like, and let people know like what's going on with me, and how, because people just turn around and think like, oh, like, some people aren't that sympathetic, and I'm not asking for sympathy, but it's a struggle for me every day, and it's really hard. So it's nice that I actually get like some sympathy, and people do actually understand, like my family and Ryan and that. And it's just like, but what makes it worse also is anxiety. When I'm depressed and low, when I got low mood, that makes it even worse. And yeah, and I suffer from really, really bad health anxiety, and that's why I'm happy I got diagnosed with it. But yeah, sorry about the long video. I just thought everyone needed to know what went on with me and that. But yeah, I have lost some friends and I have gained some friends, but that's part of life, you know. That's what everyone does. Everyone loses and gains friends, and I've had the people I know who have supported me the most, like, are my real friends, you know, and real family. But yeah, but that's it really. That's all I've got to say. But I know I keep saying that I'll do a vlog every day, but I'm probably not going to anymore, just because of how bad my seizures are getting and just not having the motivation to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing it like every other day, or just when I feel like it. So, you know, like when I'll post when I want to post. But yeah, so alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like and a comment. I know it's quite long to watch, but it really is worth the watch. So yeah, alright then. Alright, see you guys.